Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I hope we are not getting tired, given the third day of our meeting. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to warmly welcome all of you to this ad hoc expert group meeting on the role of small and medium-scale enterprises in the industrialization process in Southern Africa, being organized by the SADC Secretariat and the UNECA Southern African Office. Permit me to welcome our guest of honor and the keynote speaker at this particular event, Honorable Bula, Minister of Business, Enterprise and Cooperatives of the Republic of Mauritius. Honorable Minister, you're welcome. The order of proceedings for this morning is that I will be giving the opening remarks shortly, and then the SADC Secretariat, represented by Dr. Mubita Luabelwa, the Director of Policy, Planning and Resource Mobilization at the SADC Secretariat, will be giving the remarks on behalf of SADC, and the meeting will be formally opened with a keynote speech by the Honorable Minister. So that's the order of the proceedings for this morning. On behalf of the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, ECA, I would like to warmly welcome all of you to this meeting, which is on the role of small and medium-scale enterprises in the industrialization process in Southern Africa. This meeting reflects a convergence of interests, partnership, focus, and strategic direction between the SADC Secretariat and the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa. Our overarching strategic focus at the ECA for the last about 10 years is about promoting the structural transformation of the African continent. Structural transformation is in terms of a qualitative shift in the nature and structure of production across sectors, from low to high-yielding sectors, and improvement in the living standards of the African people. SADC's focus, both through the revised Regional Indicative Strategic Development Plan, the SADC Industrialization Strategy and Roadmap, and of course, other key documents of SADC, is to promote structural transformation. So on the basis of this, we can see the convergence of interest between SADC and the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa. In promoting structural transformation, both institutions have prioritized the issues of industrialization and private sector development as key anchors of our transformation process. Hence, in the last 7 years or thereabout, ECA has actively supported the SADC Secretariat in terms of its industrialization agenda. ECA was the principal partner that supported SADC in the development of the SADC Industrialization Strategy and Roadmap of 2015. We continue to work with SADC in terms of the development of the action plan for the implementation of the strategy. Currently, we are both working together as well in the elaboration of that strategy and implementation of that strategy. And that tells us the kind of very strong bond and relationship that both of us have got. But in our industrialization process in Southern Africa, as indeed the entire continent, the missing link is the small and medium-scale enterprises. Oftentimes, when we drop industrialization plans or industrial policies by our member states, our priority is usually, and focus is usually on foreign direct investment. We prioritize foreign direct investment, and we undertake a race to the bottom in the promotion of or attraction of foreign direct investment. We lower the bar, but we do forget our own small and medium-scale enterprises. Experiences elsewhere have indicated very clearly that you cannot have industrialization, you cannot have development, you cannot have structural transformation without a very strong emphasis on your local entrepreneurs, on your small and medium-scale enterprises. And here, I would like to commend Mauritius for the tremendous effort and resources invested in promoting small and medium-scale enterprises. I'm sure we hear a little bit of this from the Honorable Minister when the Honorable Minister takes the floor to open the meeting. In spite of the low emphasis that we give to small and medium-scale enterprises, they do play a very crucial role in the economy of the world. SMEs represent almost about 90% of private business globally, almost about 90%, and contribute more than 50% of employment and GDP globally. So why do we talk about foreign direct investment all the time? Why don't we place emphasis on the small and medium-scale enterprises in our environment? SMEs employ no less than 22% of adult population in the developing world. In South Africa alone, SMEs contribute between 52 and 57% of GDP and provide about 61% of employment in South Africa alone. And in South Africa, there are close to about almost 6 million SMEs in that country. I've just used South Africa as an illustrative example. The point being made is that SMEs are extremely important in our industrialization, in our development processes. This meeting that we are having and the study we've undertaken is to change the narrative, is to change the discourse about what will be the driver of our industrialization process in this region and the continent as a whole. And we are doing so within the context of the SADC industrialization strategy and roadmap. I'm quite pleased that our member states are here, and I hope at the end of the deliberations today, we will have a takeaway in terms of what do we need to change the equation, what do we need to change the ball game. Without local entrepreneurs, we cannot have any kind of industrialization. And experiences have shown with how small businesses have grown and have become transnational. That was how Samsung became. That was how Hyundai of South Korea became. That is how the Dangote business became a transnational business on the continent, and we've seen that increasingly. I hope the Mauritius Africa strategy will be a link to promoting small and medium-scale enterprises, not only in Mauritius, but is supporting that agenda across the continent. I thank you for your kind attention, and I would like to invite Dr. Mubita from the SADC Secretariat to give his remarks. Thank you.
Honorable Sunil Bola, Minister of Business, Enterprises and Cooperatives, Mauritius, senior government officials present, Professor Said Adejmodi, Director, ECA, members of the Diplomatic Corps, colleagues from the Secretariat, private sector, civil society, representatives of the media, distinguished delegates, let me just say, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, bonjour, bon dia, as we say in SADC. It is my pleasure to deliver today some remarks on the occasion of the joint SADC UNECA ad hoc expert group meeting to validate the study report on the role of small and medium-term enterprises in the industrialization process in Southern Africa. It is indeed promising to see representatives here, and indeed represented here today, government delegations from SADC member states, ECA, and from the private sector, and research institutions as well. I would like to thank you for having taken time off your busy schedules to attend this important meeting, and we are truly grateful for this. Your Excellency, Honorable Minister, ladies and gentlemen, in 2015, the Southern African Development Community adopted, as was rightly pointed out by Professor, the SADC Industrialization Strategy and Roadmap 2015-2063. A key element of the industrialization strategy is the role that small and medium-term enterprises play in the industrialization and transformation of the region's economies. To effectively implement the strategy, as was rightly pointed out again, and I'm grateful for that, SADC, with the support of ECA, developed the cost reduction plan for the strategy covering 2015 to 2030, which was subsequently approved by Summit in March 2017 in Eswatini, then Swaziland, Kingdom of Swaziland. Indeed, the micro, small and medium enterprises play a major role in the economic development worldwide, and I'll not go through the numbers. The professor actually elucidated them very, very adequately. But let me just mention that studies have shown that more than 95% of enterprises across the world are small and medium-term enterprises, and they account for 60% of the private sector employment. I'm sure my figures match with Professor's figures. If they don't match, the Professor's figures are more accurate than mine. Your Excellency, Honorable Minister, ladies and gentlemen, in the Southern African Development Community, medium, small enterprises are equally important, and they account for more than 90% of the business establishment and creating over 60% of the employment opportunities. Let me say that this study stems from the Council directives that were given as SADC, which during its meeting held in March 2018 in South Africa, Pretoria, directed Secretariat under the leadership of our member states who are here, that firstly, we develop a template that will assist member states in developing capacities and capabilities of SMEs to participate in the industrialization process and value chains. Secondly, Council directed Secretariat under the leadership of our member states represented here that we develop a regional framework for supplier development with a special focus on building capacities and capabilities of SMEs to participate in the implementation of industrialization strategy and regional value chains. And thirdly, and importantly too, Council directed Secretariat with leadership of our member states to develop regional SME support programs and instruments covering, among other, institutional strengthening and access to finance and long-term sustainability. Your Excellency, Honorable Minister, ladies and gentlemen, in recognition of the crucial role that SMEs play in the region, ECA accepted to support Secretariat to develop this that member states may use in developing capacities and capabilities of SMEs to participate in industrialization and value chains, regional framework for supplier development, and regional SME program. We are truly grateful to ECA. We are working with ECA on various fronts, and they are truly supportive. We always knock on the door of ECA, and we have noticed one thing, that ECA never gets tired of us. Because of this mistake, this good mistake of not getting tired of us, we keep knocking on the doors of ECA, and they are truly, truly supportive, and we appreciate this. And thank you very much. I wish also to thank Honorable Minister, the government of Mauritius, and the support and the collaboration between SADC and the role that Mauritius keeps playing. As I was taken to get one or two things yesterday, somebody who took us told us that welcome to Mauritius, it is a paradise. And I can testify that indeed Mauritius is a paradise. Thank you, Honorable Minister. Your Excellency, Honorable Minister, ladies and gentlemen, the joint SADC-UNECA AEGM today provides a platform for deeper reflection and information sharing on the centrality of SMEs in the gradual industrialization of Southern African economies. Further, it will critically examine the findings of the study, report on the theme, and provide further insights to value addition on the output. Your Excellency, Honorable Minister, I want to quickly finish my remarks because it's indeed not my show. I'm simply giving some remarks here. Let me conclude my remarks by appreciating again the support of the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, Southern Africa Office, to this study and the high dignitaries gracing this occasion from our member states, our host nations, and other organizations. We thank you for being here today. Last but not the least, let me thank again all the crucial and critical stakeholders gathered here today, where as Secretariat, I must state, will continue to play its role as a Secretariat, supporting the member states to implement the industrialization strategy and roadmap. It is ultimately all of you who have the power to make this initiative meaningful and successful for the attainment of sustainable and inclusive economic development in SADC. I therefore wish all of us a successful event in this paradise. Thank you for your attention. Muito obrigado. Merci beaucoup.
Now it's my singular honor and privilege to invite the keynote speaker, Honorable Somidolt Bola. Honorable Minister, I hope I pronounced your name correctly. The Minister of Business, Enterprise and Cooperatives of the Republic of Mauritius. Honorable Minister, you have the floor.
Thank you. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning. In fact, I am honored to welcome you on behalf of the government of Mauritius for the 24th session of the Inter-Governmental Committee of Experts, ICE, of Southern Africa. I hope you are having a wonderful stay so far. We are thankful to all delegates who have traveled all the way from different countries to dignify and also to magnify the conference being held in Mauritius. It is gratifying to note that the 2018 ICE is being held under the theme Blue Economy, Inclusive Industrialization, and Economic Development in Southern Africa. It is an opportune time to discuss current and pressing issues affecting the socio-economic development in the region and how the blue economy sector could contribute to investments, job creation, and the reduction of poverty and inequality. As far as my ministerial portfolio is concerned, I am delighted that deliberations during the present conference will include an ad hoc expert group meeting on the theme, the role of small and medium-scale SME enterprises in the industrialization process in Southern Africa, being co-organized with the SADC Secretariat today and tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, before digging into ways to consolidate the SME sector in the Southern Africa region, it is worth to go through some economic facts. The Southern Africa Economic Outlook 2018 report, released by the African Development Bank, indicates that economic performance remains subdued as the region continues to face major headwinds. High unemployment, weak commodity prices, fiscal strain, increasing debt, and high inflation. Real GDP is estimated to have grown at an average of 1.6% in 2017, before increasing to a projected 2% in 2018 and 2.4% in 2019. In response to many socio-economic challenges, the African Development Bank points out that small and medium enterprises are the engines that are more likely to drive economies and are the ultimate stepping stone to industrialization. Even the United Nations have recognized SMEs as being responsible for significant employment and income generation opportunities across the world, and they have been identified as a major driver of poverty alleviation and development. Moreover, they are a critical force in the implementation of the UN Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. According to data provided by the International Council for Small Businesses, MSMEs make up over 90% of all firms and account on average for 60 to 70% of total employment and 50% of GDP. These are my figures. I don't think that they differ much from yours. The International Trade Center indicates that there are 500 million MSMEs in the world today. Hence, governments across the globe and all international institutions are finding ways to level the trading field for SMEs. Dear delegates, with a contribution of about 40% to Mauritius GDP and representing 54.6% of total employment, SMEs are expected to become a major pillar of the Mauritian economy. With a view to implement the appropriate policy decisions and to adopt the right strategies, my ministry commissioned a 10-year SME master plan, which was launched last year. This master plan is meant to be a game changer in the economic development scenario of Mauritius by advocating a much-needed structural transformation of the SME sector. The vision and mission set in the 10-year master plan for SMEs are based on 5 main objectives. 1, improve SME competitiveness. 2, foster high growth potential SMEs. 3, upgrade skills and job opportunities. 4, improve value addition. And 5, increase market share. Some of our main targets by 2026 are to raise SME's contribution to GDP from 40 to 52%, increase SME's share of total national employment from 55 to 64%, and to expand current exports from less than 3% to about 18%. Hence, in line with the recommendations of the master plan, in replacement of the Small and Medium Enterprise Development Authority, SMEDA, a new support institution for SMEs, the SME Mauritius has been set up this year. And a new law has been passed. This major change is not only a move for a courageous shift, but it also paves the way forward for a constructive reform for the SME sector by providing a better system of governance and doing away with bureaucratic inefficiencies. SME Mauritius Limited is currently operating several schemes to assist SMEs in having access to finances, new technologies, and markets. Moreover, successive budgets prepared by government since 2015 have positioned SMEs as key drivers of inclusive and balanced growth. Mauritius is leaving no stone unturned to conclude regional and multilateral agreements with a view to further extend its commerce on the international front, whereby our SMEs will also be able to take part in the global trade. Respected delegates, even though SMEs contribute significantly to economic growth and in the industrialization process, they do face challenges. To address those challenges, the African Development Bank has pledged for a regional approach to SME support and development to boost growth of the sector. This would require undertaking a rigorous analysis of SMEs operating in the Southern African region. Consequently, the result would help policymakers understand the real bottlenecks and to come up with the necessary reforms for better equipping SMEs to participate fully in the process of industrialization. I believe that if we recognize the fact that SMEs are key players to achieve economic growth in the Southern Africa region, a comprehensive program should be designed to consolidate the enterprises. The main thrust of such a program would be to enhance the competitiveness of SMEs, improve the business and regulatory environment, strengthen institutional support systems, promote technology transfers, industrial innovations, and improve productivity. I am confident that during panel discussions today on the matter, recommendations of mutual interest will eventually emerge. It takes a village to raise a child. This African proverb does not only reflect on the importance of an entire community to help a child grow up in a safe environment. It also reflects on the mindset we should adopt as a group of countries in the Southern Africa to join our forces to promote the SME sector. Ladies and gentlemen, as we evolve in a fast-paced world, Southern African countries have to harness ambitions, and we should focus on the various ways to achieve the goals set. I will conclude by referring to a statement made by the President of the African Development Bank, Mr. Akinwumi Adesina, who rightly said, and I quote, "We have to be impatient in moving Africa forward," unquote. I wish you all fruitful deliberations during this session, and I thank you for your attention.
Can we give the Honorable Minister another round of applause, please? The concluding message to us is that it takes a village to raise a child. It takes cooperation, it takes partnership, it takes regional frameworks and initiatives to really consolidate our SMEs. On that note, we've come to the end of the opening ceremony, and we will break for 5 minutes to have group photograph. Group photograph with the Honorable Minister before the Honorable Minister leaves. We'll have group photograph in 5 minutes, and we'll reconvene here to begin the substantive session of the day. So, the opening ceremony is closed. Sorry. Dear participants, let's go for the group photograph quickly. Or the family photograph.